Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Jamie and this will be a reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. If you're brand new to tarot, just know that this reading isn't going to resonate with every single Cancer out there, so if it's not your story, just disregard it. We can also just disregard sex or gender. I'm going to pull cards like King, Queen, Emperor, and Empress. The sex or gender doesn't matter. Those cards describe a personality. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want notifications when I upload. If you've been around for a while and you want to become a member, you can hit the join button to check out all the additional perks over there. Alright, get a spread for Cancer. I feel like some of you are waiting on like some type of legal thing, like a decision, obviously, but to me, this kind of it's given like maybe like there's a divorce going on and somebody really wants to cut ties and get the hell out of Dodge. But there's a bunch of maybe legalities, and the problem here is that you need to protect assets. You could be dealing with someone who's cunning and intelligent, and you know that you can't do things all willy-nilly, that you have to be patient and you have to do things the right way. Like, it's really given divorce or like, some type of legal business separation where you have to be very careful because this person is wildly intelligent, but also emotional. So you feel like, if you sent them paperwork before the time was right, before everything was all set up and protected, that they would take you for everything. So I'm kind of getting where it's one-sided now, where this person still has some type of emotions for you, but you may not feel the same way. You may feel stuck. And trying to, the challenge here is figuring out a way out of the situation without ending up homeless and bankrupt, Like, I think that this person, they may just kind of be like that, Like, everything's fine if you're doing kind of what they want, but if not, then, like, all hell is going to break loose. So I think for you, you have to be set up for this to happen. I think for some people it's deeper. There's like kids involved, so you have to make sure that that's set up too in a way where it's going to work for both people and not totally fuck you. So I think that there's still parts of this that are emotional for you. You're just sort of dead set on wanting some type of, I think, separation. I do feel like you've been pretty patient here. You've been making sure to cross your T's and dot your I's. And with the sword energy, I feel like you're really trying to do things or understand things in a legal way before you just proceed with anything. Because sometimes that's a mess. You'll see people, like, especially if it's like a divorce or something, like, it's like you just plan to have some kind of like clean divorce, but it doesn't work like that. If the other person's going to play games, then we're talking a lot of expenses. you know if they're not ever going to agree to anything and it always has to be agreed upon by a judge, we're talking about dishing out a bunch of cash, so that can be long and drawn out. And if a person like knows this, like maybe they've been married before, they saw a friend's divorce or something, and they know this, like, and they understand that it would make someone else just be fucked up as they are, they may play games. I think this is that kind of person, though, where they would try to make sure that you didn't go, and if you did, it would be with nothing. Or at least nothing that you give a shit about, because this is a Cancer reading, so we could be talking about kids, you know, pets. Hang on a second, my heater is going off. I don't want that in the background. So yeah, kids, pets, assets. The King of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, the Lovers, Gemini energy. Seven of Cups. The Five of Cups. So, yeah. The High Priestess and the Ace of Swords. So I think this is a person that's not easy to untangle from. I feel like when it comes to like the decisions here, you have one person who would be super practical, and one person who would be super emotional, who would feel like, like you were taking a whole chunk of their life away from them, or just, something would be missing, while you're kind of just looking to remain stable or keep what it is that you have worked hard for. And I think this person could be a little like manipulative, because we are looking at like someone trying to sort of look at all of their options here, like, that they would start like really looking into all of what they could take and what they could have. And it really would be based off their emotional response. They would not be able to empathize at all, I think, with what it would do for you. And that they would play this little game of like manipulation, or like trying to, it just wouldn't be a clean break. It would be a mess. And you're aware of that. So you have to be prepared. And I think especially financially to cut ties with a person. Because they're not going to do things practically here. It would be like, I can see it like two different ways. Maybe you're the person who really is like the breadwinner. It's like you really like purchase the home. They want the home and the kids, but they can't really like pay those bills. So would they want money for that too? Why would that make sense? It's just that regular like divorce bullshit. Now, if this is a business thing and you're trying to separate, this person is pettier than you, like they would get into some legal work to make sure they got everything they could from you, and really like manipulate and bend the truth. No matter the situation here, it seems like kind of more legal to me. So you fucking hate the person that you've been living with for the last 5 years. 4 years of it was good, and the last year has been living hell, and you want to move the fuck out. But there's a lease where you both signed it, and you're both responsible. If you want to get out of it, it's definitely you who's going to have to fucking leave. So you have to make sure that you are like set up not just to move, but to get all new furniture and things, because this person's petty. and the law can only do so much. It's, I just feel like somebody's like sleeping with the enemy. They sleep with one eye open. They don't like the person that they've figured out they're with now. And it's not going to be a clean, easy break. Because I feel like this person's fucking holly and jolly. The relationship's working out great for them. They get whatever they want. But for the other person, there's a struggle. This could be like, the person who always has the children and has their kind of like own money, like they're fine, and they also have like, people that look out for them, family members that are around to help with kids and stuff. And a dude wants the kids, but like he barely even knows these kids. He just works like 80 hours a fucking week. Like, why would that make any sense? It's like something really crazy like that. But you do have to be careful with this person because they're just so slick and like manipulative. Gross. Do be like that, right? Crosswatchers, if you're watching this, don't be mad. You could say it's in the reverse, like it could be a Cancer person that's like this with you. However it rolls, there's a power struggle here. The really crazy thing to me is whoever is trying to exit, I don't think they're trying to leave with much. No. But it's too much to the other person, or you just know that it will be. So what's the advice in the situation? The devil, the sun. I think it'd say like you're definitely not wrong. You definitely need to be careful and at least one step ahead. But it looks like you already are, like you're being really smart about it. You're like being safe and careful with the planning. Because when you're ready to do this, shit's going down. And whoever I'm speaking to, they fucking know it too. The devil and the sun, like you already know. Like even if nobody else on the planet knows who this person is, you know that you are literally living in a home or having a whole ass business where half of the business is this person and they are literally a fucking demon. It's crazy. And some of you, like, very behind the scenes are, like, speaking to a legal team about what you can do. It's time to take action. New moon in Aries. This is crazy. It seems like, someone's like plotting an actual escape. Is it an escape? Well, the Seven of Wands, he's like breaking out of jail. The Wheel of Fortune, though. The Four of Cups, the Seven of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune. I feel like it's going to take a little bit to get the hell out of there, but you eventually will. I think It's saying to stay optimistic, like you'll find a way to at least keep what's important to you, which I feel like is not a lot, you know. Like, I don't feel like somebody's like trying to take somebody's actual like belongings or something, but like the other person is like so the devil, you know, so toxic, so full of rage that they would just straight up try to like take somebody's children or like do wild legal shit instead of just have a clean divorce. So, yeah. Stay a little secretive. Hopefully they don't watch these things. All right. I'll see you soon.